Alright, so to start off, we have Nanaha, the team's heart, played by Lumi-chan. Nanaha is
A human sun soul monk who lives by her emotions, quite literally, it seems.
Saya, played by moi, is a water genasi genie-packed warlock. She is kind of looking for chaos at all times. Raz, played by Ms. Aegis. Raz is
a Shadarkaya barbarian who's currently getting his ass kicked by seasonal allergies.
Next, we have Noom Pocket, played by Daisine. Pocket is
a Tabaxi phantom rogue who clearly likes to run.
Next, we have Team Mom Verity, played by the one and only Mr. Pounce.
Yes, right. Say the whole name. A divine soul sorcerer. God, I don't know. Lumi needs to not go before me because I keep drawing. Okay, all right.
You could go first. I don't mind.
No, I keep want to say sun soul and then I want to say warlock. It's just my brain is.
Pounces first. Pounces first.
I mean, top billing, right? Yeah.
Exactly. You are the one and only.
Goddamn right.
Next, we have Axel, played by Lennon Marks. Axel is
human devotion paladin who is showing off his like guard lieutenant chops.
And finally, we have GM extraordinaire Fluffy Snowfall.
Okay. So, last time, the intrepid adventurers managed to survive beyond all odds against a rather intimidating swarm of vampire spawn, with MVP Axel keeping almost half of them at bay.
Wasn't that Roz? Well,
No.
Axel turned them, but Roz, held them.
Oh yeah, but Axel drove half the group off, so it would have been a much tougher fight. After some reconnaissance, they found a sack of bones in one of the side bedrooms. The coffin maker, whose store was infiltrated, was arrested, and the party chased the escaping vampire spawn. 2 of them were found dead by Izek Strasny, the leader of the town guard in Valakai. The last had escaped, killed some people and guards on the way out. A tense truce was made with the devilish man whom Pocket is desperately trying to avoid due to being wanted for previous infractions against the law. The party managed to reconvene and began a night's rest as they planned their next actions. Is there anything anyone would like to do during the night other than, sleep?
Well, I thought our original thing is we were supposed to keep an eye on Irina, but because we saw Strahd and he's aware, I guess we don't need to, question mark?
That's up to you guys. The original plan was to hand her over at the coffin maker's shop.
To be fair, that wasn't really anyone else's plan. So have we all reconvened at the tavern?
I believe so, yes.
Right. Well, once we're all up in our rooms or someplace quiet, Raz will pull out the bones. We found the bag of bones that the coffin maker was hiding. I don't know where we should bring them. I think I recall there being a church in town.
Bones usually belong to churches, so I'd be inclined.
Isn't that where the coffin maker said he received them from?
I got hit in the head a lot shortly after. I don't recall.
I'm red not from my clothes, so I'm not sure either.
Well, perhaps after a rest we can go ask at the church if they're missing any bones.
What did the man on the porch want, Saya?
We've been invited to dinner tomorrow. His employer would like to speak with us, including employment opportunities.
How many monsters, and are they in the basement or in the attic?
You know, Pocket, for everyone around here probably doesn't have monsters in one of their floors.
I'm going to turn to Verity. We have been in how many buildings so far? And how many of them have had monsters beneath them or now above them? Does it make sense that this random person talking to us would therefore have monsters in their home?
I don't know why you picked Verity. She's yes, you're correct. You should stay here alone then.
See, she's the smart one. If she says there's probably monsters, it's probably monsters.
I didn't say there were monsters. I just said that if you were a coward, you could stay here alone.
It is easier to fight off monsters if there's more than one of you. Just saying, Pocket.
Dinner invitations aside, these bones were already taken once. Do we want to wait until tomorrow to return them?
What's the time of day currently?
It's getting a little bit later in the day. I would say it's kind of in the early evening, post-supper frame of the whole thing.
I'd be inclined to return them tomorrow when the people might actually be there.
If you give me at least an hour, I would be willing to go today.
I'm fine either way. I just don't want to, have a whole lot of uninvited guests raiding my bedchambers.
If we're gonna go, we should probably go pretty. I know that the day doesn't do much here, but I'd rather not be caught out at night.
Didn't we commission Gadoff for things that we have to get tomorrow as well?
Oh god, that all was in this one day.
Yep.
It was very busy.
What was that?
Blinsky, the toys you had commissioned.
Oh, right.
Pick them up tomorrow.
Okay. Well, in the morning, I guess we can send someone to pick up the toys, and then the rest of us can go get the bones dropped off, and then we can meet with our possible benefactor, see what's going on there, and then figure out what we're doing with travel.
Well, I know that the possible benefactor wanted us for dinner, so maybe check out the Motorkoff winery?
Will we
He
return
wants
in
us for
time?
dinner.
Also, there's a festival tomorrow.
And yes, Pocket, they plan to eat you.
Tasty, tasty kitty.
He's a little lean. I don't know if he'd make the best meal.
You guys are sick!
I don't eat cat, don't worry.
I'm just messing around, Pocket.
It's fine, Pocket. No one will eat you. They'd probably make you into a violin first.
I was thinking for a coat.
Cloak
Alright.
of cowardice. -1 to all, intimidation checks.
Oh.
Hey, at least you're a magical item.
But if we do
Uh,
intend to sleep, I have shenanigans to get up to.
Okay.
Shenanigans.
All right.
Saya, you have the ability to keep things safe, do you not?
Yes.
Do you want to keep the bones safe?
Sure.
And you will hand the sack over to her.
She'll just set her lantern down on the bed, and then she and the bones are gone.
Did we really need a bed for her? We could have put her on the table.
Verity reaches over and tips the lantern sideways to see if it does anything. Just like turns it over on the bed.
You know, I don't actually know if it does. If it getting moved. Because, like, I can hear everything, but it doesn't say anything about it.
Which means it's left up to your wild imagination.
I would say that it is, since it's an extra dimensional space in the bottle, flipping it over has nothing to do with that extra dimensional space.
But
Well,
I definitely heard that.
While Saya's
Maybe
inside,
out sideways.
I wonder what would happen if we clog the nozzle or the spout.
Does a lantern have a spout?
I don't know. I'm just thinking like Aladdin lamp, where they always pour out of the nozzle.
No,
with the
think
smoke.
of like the actual type, like an actual lantern. Lantern is what she's got, and not the lamp type. Because we can choose.
Aesthetic.
Alright, she'll return not terribly long after, probably just like threw herself on the pillows and just like, ah! And then returns.
All right. So, go ahead.
Oh, I was just say, all right, if that's the plan, I'm gonna go turn in for the night. Stay safe, everyone. And Axel just kind of heads over to his room.
Stay safe.
I will at least start my night with Axel.
Okay.
Honkshoe.
Pocket goes and hangs out with his boyfriend.
Y'all are jealous.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, that reminds me. Are Ismark and Irina in their room?
Yes, they are.
Off we go to see them then. Deedly, well, Ismark more. Deedly. This is the one, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm not just gonna barge in. Wow, their room's huge.
They richer than us.
Well, they got here first. So, you knock on the door.
Wait, are you two following her?
Yes.
Raz has an idea of why you want to talk to them, so he's going to follow you. If you shoo him away, he's fine.
Eventually, Ismark goes and opens the door. Some light pours out from some lit lanterns in the room. Irina is currently sitting in her bed reading. She kind of gives a small little wave as she sees the door open. Ismark just kind of takes a look. Hello.
Hello.
What do we what pleasure do we have for this visit?
Well, I mean, she knocks and then like, she's been followed. And she's and she looks at Ismark and then back at Irina and then at the other two, and she's like, good night, and just kind of like shoulders her way back into her room.
I at least wanted to say hi to Irina.
Ismark just kind of stands there, confused.
I'm confused too, don't feel bad.
That was... Your friend is, quite the eccentric, yes?
A bit, I've noticed.
Did Irina advise you on who came to visit us in the coffin maker's shop?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
I'm right over here, brother. I can respond for myself.
Nanaha sticks her head in. Hi, Irina!
Hi,
Wave.
Nana.
Has that changed your opinion on where it might be safe?
I am beginning to agree that perhaps Valakai may not be as safe as we originally had hoped. I think that yes, if we were to continue, it would be for the best. If that is agreeable with the rest of your group, I do not wish to put you out more than we already have.
Well, it sounds like we have a busy day for tomorrow. I don't know what sort of timetable you would want to have on us leaving.
We will have to see. As long as things go well the next night or so, I would feel more comfortable here than I would on the road.
Completely understandable.
Okay. Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Didn't mean to scare you off there, dear.
No answer. Just in the notebook.
You could go talk privately if you want. I just wanted to say hi to Irina.
Scribbling intensifies, but she still says nothing.
And
Okay.
after our visit, they do want to leave. They do not think that this town is as safe as they had hoped. More towards Saya than anyone else.
Yeah. I did tell our invitee, or our inviter, the person who invited us to dinner, that we might not be able to make it, but we would give them notification if we couldn't.
Worst case, push it out a day. I don't think they'd mind too terribly much.
To be honest, I don't think we can leave tomorrow without drawing a significant amount of attention from the townsfolk, considering the festival.
True.
And you do remember that the burgomaster specifically asked for you all to be guests of honor at the festival.
Oh, right, yes.
I did not remember that. I'm glad you did.
One too many hits to the head.
Hey, she was fine. She only got clawed once, like in the leg, I think.
It was all the
rest
boards.
of us.
Yeah, it was all the planks of wood.
Oh, right. I forgot to have her be mad at Pocket for that. Oh, but she sassed him earlier. It's good. Okay, we're good.
That wasn't Pocket's fault. That was Axel's fault that you had the planks on your head.
Started it.
Pocket dropped you to the ground. Axel's the one that kicked the boards onto you.
Not sorry. Will be. You will be.
All right. Is there anything else that you all would like to attend to tonight before bed?
Couple of questions.
Okay. What's up, Pocket?
So, in regards to someone, say, sneaking through the town, how far apart are the buildings from one another? Is this more like a European Gothic style where most of them are just put together, or are there like gaps in between? Could someone feasibly jump across the roofs?
Well, let us take a look at the town map, and you can see.
Okay.
Okay, just making sure that that's an accurate depiction.
Before Rogue Shenanigans, for those of us who lost max HP to Vampire Spawn, we get those back on a long rest?
That is correct.
Okay. I'm good to go then. That's all I needed. It's all yours, Pocket.
Got it. And I assume that the roofs that look pitched are pitched, and those that are flat looking are flat?
That is correct.
And in between where our horses dropped off, and town center and the inn, which are the only places I would have actually reasonably paid attention. Was there a general store, a weaponsmith or smith shop, and most important, let's start there.
You have not seen any signs for a weapons shop. But you haven't really looked around town square very much. You saw mostly stalls for good kind of like accessories, clothing, books, food. There might be. You were a little preoccupied in the town square. The only big general store that you are aware of is where you dropped off the horse at the stockyard.
Got it. And when we were, when Pocket so foolishly intimidated or attempted to intimidate Handsy McArmstrong, did any of the other guards have noticeably fancier weapons than what we carry?
No. They all had pretty standard weapons.
But they must still have an armory around. Have we seen any place where guards tend to gather?
Not in the immediate area where you guys have explored.
Got it. Well, we will still empty out the backpack, leave via window if possible with just the cloak that Roz got me and an empty backpack to go abscond with some things.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check. This will be opposed by Axel's passive perception.
This is for Pocket trying to sneak out?
Yeah. Through the window.
Oh. Axel is not... I mean... Axel knows Pocket does this, he just ignores it. So that's totally fine.
Okay. Well, you do hear the... Axel, you do hear the window opening, and you hear the sound of Pocket slipping out.
Sure. Axel just kind of mutters, be safe, friend, as he's going to sleep.
All right.
All right.
Pocket, it's pretty dark at this point in the night. The sun has long since set, and the filtered sunlight that gives the only bit of illumination is now gone. Thankfully, your tabaxi eyesight is impeccable, and you are able to see clearly, albeit in shades of gray. There's really no one on the streets right now. All of the houses and shops are shuttered and closed. What would you like to do?
No one's out on the street, but from the second story window, if I climb up on the roof, I will climb up on the roof. Okay. Does it look like there's a guard patrol inside the town?
Roll perception to see if you notice. You don't see anything. Looks clear.
Fuck it, let's go. First place I'm going to go is, since there may be a general store near where our horse was left, we'll head there either by roofs where accessible, otherwise sticking to buildings and shadows.
Okay. All right, I will need you to roll me another set of stealth checks, and if you are going to be hopping from roof to roof, and acrobatics.
We'll start with the acrobatics. Oh, jeez! Today is the day!
Okay. Roll your stealth.
Good thing cats land on their feet.
Okay, Pocket. You make your way through the downtown. You're hopping from rooftop to rooftop. There's a set of buildings kind of around here where you think that you could make the leap, and you kind of, arch your back and you make the jump, kind of jumping across the small side street. However, the roof of the other building was a little slippier than you had anticipated from the cold air and the condensation, and you're not able to get a firm grip. You end up slipping off of the roof, and in surprise, you give a sharp yowl as you land and hit the ground. You will take 1 point of bludgeoning damage, and at the sound of you crying out in surprise, you see a few of the nearby houses, the windows in the top floors lighting up.
We will attempt to hide.
Okay, are you going to try to dart towards the town square or continue on the main street?
The main street, I assume, is a little bit more open. I assume in the town square, I might have something to hide behind, so we'll go there.
Okay. You dart, kind of making your way downtown. You run past as some of the houses up kind of in that intersection, you hear the doors creaking open. You see a few torch lights as people are trying to see what was going on. You do hear the sound of footsteps as you kind of nimbly just dart in between shadows and just run. Passing by the toy shop, you actually see that the lights are still on inside.
Ooh, fuck! That's tempting. No. Go into the where the general store might be.
Okay, so you're running towards the town square. Okay, town square is relatively empty at this point. You see that it's been cleaned up and prepared for tomorrow's festival. The stocks are clear, there's no one in them. And at this point, you kind of look around. Thankfully, no one in this area seems to really have heard your little misstep earlier. Are you going to try to look for a store, or are you going to head out to where you dropped off the horse?
Let's check on the horse first and look for signs of stores as we go there.
Okay. Please roll a perception check.
Wrong roll. It is also still +4, but I can.
That's fine. Nah, it's fine. Same roll. I'll take it. It's a 21 instead of a 22.
That's true. Yes.
Okay. You do see there are a few signs, like you see a small smith and you see a small apothecary. You didn't really catch the names, but you saw the signs. You saw the signs that have like the anvil shape, and there's the bottle that would make a good point to hit up. Something does stick out to you, though, as you are making your way towards the stockyard. You see, looking towards the coffin maker's shop where you guys were previously, there is a dark swarm of black shapes circling the building. You get closer, and you just see this massive swarm of bats. There are hundreds of them.
Rubbing my eyes, is that actually there, or am I phantom seeing things?
You aren't entirely sure. You head closer, and you see the bats swarming in a giant cloud. And you kind of get to get a closer look, and you see a single figure walking calmly out of the front door of the coffin shop.
And hide up against a wall somewhere, just to not be out of sight of this entity.
Okay, I would like you to roll me another stealth check, please. Let me look at here something quick. That's a 23. All right. You manage to slip into one of the side streets. You know, you are standing there, breathing nervously. The figure that walks out of the coffin maker's shop, calm, stylized black hair, seems to be wearing nobleman's attire. There's a slight pallidness to his skin. He walks just calmly towards the main street. The swarm of bats intensifies, more bats flying in from the forests to join the large swarm, and it just follows him as he walks.
Are the bats making, like, audible noise?
They are squeaking and chittering.
And no one around is making any sign that they're hearing this, or it's like dull enough and simple enough that it's kind of like a white noise.
It's dull and simple enough to kind of be a white noise.
Okay.
And you see the man walking down the street that you are currently hiding on.
I get the sense he knows I'm here, but I'm gonna try to continue heading off to the horse, trying to be as quiet as I can and not draw this being's attention. I'm assuming this is Strahd because he's the only person that looks fancy that we've met.
He takes the corner, and you see the swarm of bats flying off towards the west. Tisk tisk, naughty kitty. What are you doing? What are you doing out so late,
Frozen.
You see him just kind of standing there, and his eyes match yours. I need you to roll me a wisdom saving throw, please.
The way rolls are going tonight.
Okay. Your fear kind of starts to slowly drain away. Why were you scared of him in the first place? He's charming, he's inviting. Like, you trust him more than you trust Axel.
Hey, big guy.
So what were you doing out so late,
Well, right now I want to go check on the horse since we haven't gone to see it since we got here.
Oh, do not worry. I checked up on it. I have a bit of business to attend to. Would you like to help me, Pocket?
Depends. Are there going to be any monsters in any basements?
Oh, of course not.
How about on second floors?
There will not be any monsters that you will not be able to see.
I mean, I guess other than you. Ha
Yes, that is actually quite a funny one. You have got quite the wit about you,
I guess so.
Your friends do not seem to appreciate what you have done for them. It is a shame, yes?
Well, I'm trying. And I want to help them. I have to figure some things out.
Well, that is fine. Come. Let us go have a bit of a conversation. I've got business to attend to, and I think you could help. And I will make sure that you are appropriately rewarded. Yes?
Look in the direction of the horse. Shit, because this guy's trusted. Yeah, let's go.
All right. So the two of you walk through the streets. Strangely, you don't see any guards. And he just kind of calmly walks with you, makes small talk. Asks how you're doing, asks if there's anything that he can do. You know, he's just trying to be a good host as you all are his guests.
I will exchange that. There's probably a series of annoying questions like, how do you do the bad thing? How do you just show up in random towns? What's going on? Why do you like Arena so much?
All right. Roll me a persuasion check. All right. So he kind of just is casually talking. The bat thing, he just says, "Oh, it comes with practice." As you talk about, what about Irina? He's like, "Have you looked at her? She is
really pretty.
She is the most perfect woman in all of the valley."
You sure know how to pick 'em, buddy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your kind words, friend. At this point, you guys have been walking for a while, and he steps outside of the church, and he kind of looks in. There is something of mine that was taken from me and brought into that church. Now, as much as I would like to go in, I need a good friend who would be willing to vouch for me.
I mean, you seem like a great guy. It's just a church.
That sounds good. So he kind of has you go in. Now may I enter, friend?
Well, it's not my house. We should ask whoever lives here.
Oh, do not worry. I just need your permission.
First, gonna listen in and see if I hear anyone on the inside.
You do hear, there seems to be a sermon going on in the church. You hear the sound of a man giving some sort of lecture about staying strong to the morning Lord. There's a congregation of people inside listening.
Well, I don't really know how you do things around here, but normally when I do these kinds of exercises, I tend to go alone so as to not get any other people in trouble.
That is fine. I will let you do your thing, friend. Would you mind entering into the belfry up on the top of the tower? That would be the easiest way to get to most likely where the church is storing a book that is very important to me.
Ooh, a reader. I don't think I've read many books.
Well, when you and your friends come to visit me in my castle, I will make sure that there are plenty of interesting books in my study for you to peruse.
Will there be food?
Of course.
You're all right.
Glad to hear it.
And is it possible to scale the building with my claws and a
Yes.
20-foot climb speed to get
Yes,
up there?
you can. Yep. You are able to scurry up the side of the building. You see up in top of the belfry, there is a latch, kind of a locked latch that leads down into the main area of the church, into kind of like some of the priest's bedroom areas and all that fun stuff. So like wherever the priest and the church staff sleep.
Nothing seems locked. Nothing seems...
The latch is locked.
No big deal. We're going to pick that lock.
Okay, roll a Thieves' Tools check.
Dexterity plus proficiency, right?
Yep. It is not actually that difficult of a lock. You are able to pop it within about a minute or so.
Brush my claws on the cloak. Yeah, I'm pretty good at this.
Mm-hmm. And you slip inside the church. You find yourself kind of around a bunch of bedrooms. Like you find yourself in kind of like a hallway, and there's a set of bedrooms off to the north and south. And then there are a set of stairs that lead down into the main congregation area of the church. You can hear the priest giving their sermon down below.
Okay, well, we'll start by entering the closest room.
Okay.
Check to see if it's locked. Listen in before slowly cracking open the door.
Okay. The door is unlocked, and there doesn't seem to be anyone in there.
Does it look like a bedroom or like a storage room?
It is a storage room. You mostly see supplies and reliquaries.
Any supplies useful to adventurers?
There are some torches you could gank, and there is rope. And some bottles of holy water.
We're going to take all of that.
Okay, you have 4 bottles of holy water, 50 foot of rope, and 4 torches.
Got it. And then, is there any sign of this book?
Roll investigation. It doesn't seem to be here. You're a little distracted as you hear squeaking and chittering out in the hallway. You peek your head out, and you see the swarms of bats pouring in through the latch. And in the congregation, you hear screaming as you hear the sounds of people screaming and running around as the bats just pour down into that area.
That's normally the sign to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Is there... Yeah, I want to leave now.
Okay. Roll... Nah, I'm trying to think. I think the bats leave you alone as you kind of like hunker down on the floor and like scurry your way back upstairs.
Got it.
And you make your way back up on top of the roof, and at about this point you see your best friend Strahd stopping for a snack. And you see in his arms the limp body of an elderly man in kind of cleric priest attire. And Strahd wiping the blood off of his mouth. The bats are chasing off individuals in the congregation out into the streets. The amount of screaming, lights are turning on, people are panicking.
Well, I came in from up high. We'll leave up high and kind of run around the outskirts and behind buildings to try to go back to the inn.
Okay, I will need you to make me a stealth check. And I would like everyone in the party to please tell me their passive perceptions.
12?
Saya's is
13.
12 and Mogget is 13.
9.
Oh, right, push to talk. Saya's is 12 and Mogget is 13.
Okay. The 2 13s are awoken by the sound of screaming out in the streets.
Ah, frick. Goes and sticks her head out the window.
You see... Roll a perception check, please, Nanaha. You're not sure what you see out there. There's a lot of just, you hear people screaming, you look down in the streets, you see some people running into houses, but you're not sure what caused all that.
Nanaha goes and pokes Verity.
Sorry, it rolls over. Her hair is like poof, and it's like yes.
They're screaming in the streets. I can't see anything. You got better eyes for this?
She gives her sort of this sort of like half awake, but also was that racist? Look.
Hey, I can't see shit. I'm just saying. Anybody else? If you don't want me to go ask you, I'll go ask the. I'm so tired.
Verity pulls herself out of bed using Nanaha as a handle, just kind of like claws over. All right, sticks her face out the window. What am I looking for? Sorry, what am I looking for?
There's people screaming, and I just can't see anything. I'm just so tired.
Saya currently is probably being woken up by Mogget just tearing at her hair.
Yep, there is a undead pseudo-dragon pawing at your shoulder.
So she's gonna roll out of bed, probably hear the screaming, and then shove Roz.
What?
Screaming.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Verity, in her half-awake stupor, is trying to look for screaming.
Okay.
She should probably be hearing, listening for that instead.
You do hear the screaming now that you are awake, so you can look out one of the windows into the streets. So roll me a perception check.
That'll be good. Where the fuck is it? There it is. Eyeballs!
You aren't sure either. You don't really see anything.
Wow.
At this point, you hear a loud voice running upstairs. Do not leave. Stay in your rooms. It is not safe to go out.
What's going on?
There was some sort of commotion at the church. People are being attacked by bats. I need everybody to stay calm. Keep the windows and doors closed. I don't know what is going on right now, but it is not safe to be out there. Erwin is looking very anxious, and like you can see this look on his face of just like confusion and anxiety.
So hearing the yelling, Axel pops, wakes up, looks over, sees Pocket's still not back yet, and just starts getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
Saya's gonna take Mogget and have them on her hand and stick them out the window because they have dark vision of 60 feet.
Okay.
I mean, Verity has full-on dark vision. She just didn't see shit.
Yes, but pseudo-dragons have advantage on wisdom checks, on perception checks that rely on sight, hearing, or smell.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
Advantage.
Okay. Through the eyes of your pseudo-dragon familiar, you look out and you see people running into their houses and slamming the doors. You see hundreds of bats flying through the streets. Anyone who's out there just chittering and swarming upon. There's a couple of people you see that are actually felled by these swarms of bats. And there's just chaos in the streets right now.
Do we see Pocket?
Pocket, how are you making your way to the inn right now?
Yep, and I'd return the way that I left through the window.
Okay, yes, you do see Pocket trying to climb up the side of the building to the inn at this point.
Alright, she's gonna hold out her hand for Pocket while calling over her shoulder, get the siblings. Intentionally not using their name.
Nanaha runs to go over and knock on their door.
You see Ismark and Irina are actually both fully armored at this point, and they have their swords. What is going on? What is happening up there?
Bats. Lots of bats.
Oh no. Shit.
Figured we
Alright.
should get you to the interior of the building at least.
That would be wise, and Ismark and Irina will follow you guys kind of into a more interior place. You do hear some squeaking of bats banging against the windows.
Nanaha shouts, maybe barricade the windows while we're at it? And
Once pockets
just kind of keeps
inside.
them towards the interior.
Saya, roll me an insight check, please.
Do.
Something is a little out of place. You seem to notice that the bats don't seem to be molesting Pocket at all.
All right. Well, we're gonna file that away for something to grill him about later.
You are able to pull him in and
we're
get the
gonna-
the
yeah.
window slammed shut.
You and I are gonna have a talk about those bats later, Pocket.
They're not mine!
No, I imagine not.
At this point, all of you manage to get your way inside. The screaming begins to start slowing down. And the squeaking kind of starts slowing as well. A couple of bats slam against the windows before fluttering off into the night as well. It's about a good 10 minutes before things fully start to calm down.
Can I tell at this point that I was under the effect of a spell?
No.
Am I still under the effect of this spell?
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Strahd is your best friend until tomorrow. Technically, he's also Verity's best friend, but that means a whole lot of shit.
So as we regroup, I kind of tap Pocket on the shoulder. Rough supply run?
Something like that.
Yeah, right?
Look at my body for what I would assume should be bat bites, but if there aren't
Nothing.
any...
You're clean.
Well, I think I'm fine, but I don't know.
What
Axel
did
just
you
like
do?
Saya's just gonna shake her head. It's not important. We'll talk to him about it in the morning. I highly doubt he caused the bats.
At this point,
Maybe it did. Under-
you see you hear some, I don't want to say commotion, but you hear some conversation out in the hallway. And you see Erwin, and he's talking with that half-elf man, Rictavio, the man with the carnival. And you see Erwin just has this massive platter of teacups. You know, and they're finishing their conversation, and you see Rictavia go back into a room at the end of the hall, and Erwin is making his way down to you guys. Do you all want? I mean, while you're up, do you want some tea, something to help you get back to sleep?
I would love some tea.
He kind of passes around some sleepy time tea.
I assume there is some mental conflicting with not helping Strahd, wanting to hurt Strahd, but he's also my best friend. Why would I ever?
Yeah.
So I'll just take the tea and go to bed.
Verity takes a moment as the cups are passed. What's in it? Or what is in it, I should say.
It is a local blend of herbs. There is a bit of chamomile and a bit of lavender. Just some. It is a concoction of tea that helps take the nerves off.
Anaha takes a deep whiff and just, yes. Glug.
I take a cup of tea from him and take a sip and ask him if if the building is secure, if anything needs to be done while this is going on.
No, everything seems to be okay, thankfully. All of the windows were closed. There were a couple up on the upper floor near the attic that had a few cracks in the glass that they will have to repair. But the inn itself is relatively alright.
Excellent. If you need anything, please let us know.
Will do. I may have more information in the morning. For now, the best thing we can do is sleep.
Okay, then.
Mogget is going to hop onto Axel's shoulder. Mogget is sleeping in Axel and Pocket's room tonight.
Well, Mogget doesn't need to sleep, so Mogget just chills.
Yeah.
Pretends to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Axel's slightly weirded out by Pocket, like being on him, but kind of pets him a little bit and gets over it pretty quick.
Mogget kind of chirps and, like, nuzzles your head.
It's so much more gross now that we know what it looks like.
Sorry.
No, it's awesome. That is a really cool statue that you made.
I think it's awesome.
I love it.
It's awesome. It's
I'm
also
so glad.
we're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, it is a very jarring juxtaposition because demeanor-wise, Mogget is very just happy, bubbly, like almost a mix of a puppy and a very affectionate cat. But then it looks like a monstrosity.
I mean, to be honest, that's about what I had envisioned. I didn't view it as a completely skeletal pseudo-dragon. I viewed it as a skeletally thin, like, skin clinging to its bones. I had it in my mental picture being black instead of red. That's about the only difference.
I'll admit I had imagined Mogget being blue because Saya's got all of the snow and everything, but I'm super happy with my Mogget, so...
Yeah. Well, pseudo-dragons tend to be red, so...
Yeah, I figured that was kind of where it was coming from, because they do tend to be red.
Alright. The rest of you are able to get a decent enough of a night's sleep. Pocket, you are actually able to sleep, and there is no whispering this night. You are able to sleep through the night. Nothing disturbs your slumber. You wake up in the morning. The rest of you all kind of wake up. There's a lot of people talking down in the main area of the tavern, in the common hall.
Okay.
Alright. Well, the rest of you morning has come. There seems to be a bit of a commotion down in the common room of the tavern. Otherwise, nothing else seems to have happened during the night.
At this point, I'm out of the effects of his charming looks.
Technically it's 24 hours, so it'll be tonight.
Oh, fuck.
So Saya is gonna wake up, and she's just going to throw open the door to Axel and Pocket's room. No worry. Like, no cares about their state of dress or lack thereof or whatever. And she's gonna slam the door behind her and advance on Pocket.
Who is under the covers. Completely. Head under the cover, everything.
What was that, Lennon?
I said, "Good morning, Saya. Please don't hurt him."
I'm not going to hurt him. He's not any use to us hurt. There you go. Sorry, I had to move the cat real quick. She's going to, pull the blanket off of his head. She's sitting on his, the edge of his bed. Pulls the blanket down. So, made a new friend last night.
Just not gonna speak.
do not make me spritz you. I'm trying to be somewhat polite about this.
Gonna actually look at her, bit of tears on the face, and then take the pillow and put it over my face and just lay down.
She sighs. Alright, fine. At least tell us where you went.
To the church.
Why?
He told me to.
Why does he care about the church?
There was something he was looking for.
Were you seen by anybody other than him?
I don't think so.
Alright. She's going to look
He
at
was
Axel.
really nice to me, at least.
Must have been a nice change of pace, huh?
Yeah.
She's gonna look at Axel. If for some reason somebody swears they saw a pocket out last night, our line is going to be that he was sleeping in the same room with myself. Because I think I can lie a little bit better than you can.
Possibly. This isn't, believe me, it's not the first time that we've needed to cover, or that I've needed to cover for him. But I promise he was trying to help us. We've got...
I'm not concerned about Pocket's motivations.
Oh, I'm well aware. I just don't... Pocket and I lived a long time doing this.
And the door opens. Verity poked her head in. Her hair's still kind of doing that morning evil spaghetti thing. And she's like, did she kill him yet?
No, not yet.
I didn't even spritz him.
Turn over.
Is she still laying in the bed?
Yes.
Verity goes and sits down on top of him.
Saya's gonna have Mogget come over and curl up with him. Because she knows that he likes Mogget. And Mogget is friendly.
There's kind of this wet, squishy tongue that's currently licking the inside of Pocket's ear.
He's not gonna purr, but he's not gonna stop it.
Roz loudly thinks out loud from the other room. So, I wonder how many people died last night as a result of that.
Wait, was that said out loud?
Oh, absolutely. Very loudly. So it carries into your room.
Okay. Get up out of bed. Drop the pillow, push Verity off, open the window, and we're just gonna full transform and fly out and leave.
Alright, so the rest of you, Pocket opens the door and you see his night clothes just fall into a pile on the ground. And you see this raven squirm out of it and fly off.
Okay, one, that's fucking cool. I didn't know you could do that. And two, holy shit.
Well, Saya's jumping into Mogget's vision and we're flying after him.
Okay, Pocket, I will need you to... I need to find the stats of a raven. I will need you to roll a d20 plus 2. Okay. Mogget, you can roll your perception.
I presume this is off of sight, hearing, or smell?
Yes, that is correct. You are able to trail Pocket Bird.
I'm just heading back to the church to listen in and see what's going on. See how many people died.
Eventually, after about 100 feet, the vision, it cuts back to your vision, Saya.
Okay, he's headed for the church.
You saw him heading west. You're not entirely sure, because the church is a straight beeline west of here. However, he could also be flying off. You only got a few houses before it cut off.
That's fair. It only goes so far. There's too many Pact of the Chain invocations I want to take.
Did you say out loud that he's going west?
Yeah, like she would come back to herself and say, he's going west. I lost sight.
All right. Go ahead, Axel.
Oh, Axel, hearing that is just gonna quickly head down to the street and start heading west and keep an eye out for. I'm sure there aren't a ton of ravens in Barovia, but just heading west toward the church where he kind of thinks Pocket might be going, but otherwise just looking for the bird.
All right, roll perception check, please, Axel.
Nanaha's gonna follow Axel at the door.
Do the same.
Where's everyone going?
Saya is going to spritz Raz before she heads off.
What? What did I do? Where's everyone going?
Perception?
Yes. Are you going to tell it, Roz, that you're looking for Pocket?
Pocket was in the other room. Roz never saw the transformation, never saw him leave, doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, Saya is not going to say anything. She's just going to spritz him and then leave.
Then Roz will catch her by the back of the neck and squeeze.
Oh, that's going to end poorly.
Do that again.
Where's the popcorn?
Axel and Nanaha, before you get too far out, you do hear the bit of the scuffle between Saya and Roz upstairs.
I would let go of me before I freeze your arm off.
Nanaha's gonna keep going.
Axel stops for a second. It's like, they can kill themselves. We gotta find Pocket.
Don't spritz me again, or you won't have a throat to say your magic words. And he lets go.
Cute threat. Now, since you went ahead and intentionally antagonized Pocket, he apparently can turn into a raven, and he's gone. So good job. And then she's gonna go.
All right.
Once we get closer to the center of the city, I'm going to use my divine sense again and see if I can feel the weird pocket ting.
Pocket ting.
Yeah. You go in there. You don't really detect anything. There's no sign of an undead ting. Yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing really that sets it off. You do see there are actually quite a number of ravens sitting on top of the inn, and there seem to be even more sitting on some of the other buildings.
Nanaha elbows Axel. So what happened?
Yeah, apparently my friend can turn into a raven. I didn't know that.
I saw him do that yesterday.
Oh, neat. He snuck out last night. Sounds like some things went sideways. He met Strahd and is maybe concerned that some people were killed because of him.
Where do you think he would have gone?
He went to the church last night. Is the only thing. If he's going to see their other, I mean, if he's gone, he's gone. The only place that he could maybe be is the church.
Shouldn't we check there then?
Yes. Did I go the wrong direction on the map? Out of character.
Um.
I always mix up my east and my west IRL.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yes, we should go to the church in character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys can make your way to the church. Verity and Roz, what are you guys doing as everyone runs out?
He's just following along, just making sure that Saya and Roz didn't actually kill each other.
Roz is kind of hungry after such a busy night of snoring, so he's probably just gonna go downstairs and have some breakfast.
Okay. All right. So we will go with Church Squad first, and then we will double back to Roz. Pocket, at the time that you reach there, you kind of perch on one of the nearby buildings. And you see that there's a rather large congregation outside of the church. They seem to be holding some sort of ceremony in the nearby graveyard. You see a grave is freshly dug. And there's kind of talk of, well, what do we do now? Father Lucian is gone. Who is going to lead the church now? And just kind of hear some. Was anyone else able to? What happened? And you do overhear. Well, about. Oh, jeez, I don't know. It all happened too fast. And they're kind of going back and forth and back and forth. It's like, and you hear just kind of the conversation, like, who all died? Well, I think. Oh, there were the Belasco family. They were attending the ceremony. Or the sermon. They did not make it. So that was Ondrej, Ilana, and their youngest. What was his name? Stefan, I believe. So that was 3. And did the Nemiroviches? Yes. Just Nikolaj did not make it, but the rest did. So that I think there were 5 counting the father. And you kind of see this like angsty, solemn-looking teenager digging the grave, and you see kind of this casket setting outside of it, and it seems to be adorned with like some flowers and incense. You guys, the rest of you tailing, you eventually start kind of making the tail end of this discussion and kind of like swarm of people outside of the church.
Anaha's looking around for crows, ravens.
Okay, roll another perception check, please. You see plenty of crows, actually. There's about 4 or 5 of them. Just kind of perched on nearby buildings, and they all seem to be kind of just watching.
I don't know his identifying marks. Do you see him, Axel?
I didn't get a great look at him when he transformed. I don't know. Right, like, is there just like an oversized raven here somewhere, or one with cat claws?
All of the ravens are all pretty large, like, because ravens are a bit kind of bigger than most birds, but nothing like stands out. There's not one that is like, super tall and has whiskers or anything.
So other than the congregation is talking, and like I'm sure like the ravens are making some noise. But is there like noise from the town here still, or is it just like silent other than a little bit of nature and the congregation?
It's relatively silent. Like you see some people sticking their heads out, kind of talking. It is relatively early in the day. I think a lot of people are just kind of nervous about what transpired last night. You see a lot of people, like you see eyes like glaring through windows in second-story buildings. But yeah.
So I'm gonna walk up to the congregation and just like the first person who will like speak to me, like I make eye contact with or whatever. I apologize. I'm sorry to interrupt you now. A friend of mine was at the congregation last night, and I was just coming to see if anyone found him.
Oh, you see, there's this kind of older woman. She's got her hair wrapped up in kind of like a bonnet, wearing like drab grays. Her hair is like blonde, but you see streaks of gray peppering it. And she just kind of looks like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, young one. The congregation last night was attacked by a swarm of bats, and she kind of like she takes her hands and kind of makes like a sun shape with like rays, so kind of like touching her thumb and forefingers together, and she just says, and the devil Strahd was here and killed off Father Lucian. Oh, morning, Lord, protect us. We only found 5 bodies, and they were all villagers who lived here. What did your friend look like?
Oh, thank goodness. You would... It's a bit hard to explain if you haven't met him, but he would be identifiable.
I see.
I mean, I'm sorry for your loss. And Axel like makes the hand. I took my hands off of my push to talk to actually do the sign IRL. No, so I make the sign back to them, and so out of character, Axel is a follower of Lathander, and I think the religions are very similar. So he's going to make.
They are.
So Axel makes the sign back and says to the older woman, I'm sorry for your loss. Before I came here, I've done some work in the church and done burial rites, given some sermons. If your church temporarily needs somebody, at least to set these bodies to rest, I'd be more than happy to help.
That would be very, very beneficial. Thank you, young one. She's a little choked up. And you kind of hear another few people's like, what is that? Is it a holy man? And they kind of like all just kind of start turning and looking at you.
I just kind of...
Oh, go ahead.
I just like kind of wave at them a little sheepishly.
All right, yeah, they ask for you to come in and to say burial rites for those that are being buried in the cemetery.
So I kind of wave to the congregation and say, I'm not a terribly skilled orator. My time was more spent in the field than in the church, but I will be glad to do whatever I can. And then I start talking, like, it's before just going right and giving a sermon. I'm gonna like talk to the congregation a bit and just learn about the people who died, so I can speak to them better.
Sure. Roll me, we'll just say a persuasion check at advantage. Yeah. So the ones that died were Father Lucian, which was the priest. He was kind of an older man, very kind, always at the temple. Basically, like, he was the type that would never leave, and he was always there to welcome outsiders and be very helpful towards the village as a whole. He was kind of like a spiritual leader for them all. There was the Belasco family that they weren't very outgoing. They mostly stuck to the church, and then they would go to the town square where they had a fruit stall that they would work at. Not a lot of people really had much interaction with them outside of the church, but they were always very devout followers. And the Nemiroviches, the one who died, was the father, Dragomir, and he was a woodworker in the village, and often helped people repair their houses and did a lot of that kind of stuff. And like one story, one old man is talking about how he helped him build this fishing boat, and it's such a shame that the boat never got used because the water has always been so treacherous as of late. Like, there's only one idiot who goes out on the lake, and he kind of just starts rambling about this one guy who keeps trying to go fishing every morning.
Well, he's got them distracted. Nanaha's gonna try to get to the roof somehow, maybe scale it, and is going to look for Pocket.
Roll me an athletics check. Okay, yeah, you are able to scale the building. No one's really paying attention to you just due to the back and forth and everyone focusing on Axel. You are having a hard time telling the birds apart.
Pocket!
Days, would Pocket try to avoid Mogget this entire time, or just kind of like find a place and hang out?
Find a place and hang out. Even if he noticed Mogget, just okay, Mogget's there.
Yeah, you see Mogget actually next to one of the ravens, and it's just kind of like chirping at him.
Pocket, is that you?
And when you get close, Mogget turns to look at you and tilts their head.
Mogget, is that Pocket?
You get this weird feeling in your brain. Like, it's this feeling of, like, familiarity and kind of, like, anxious approval. It's kind of weird. Like, you just get these feelings of emotions that aren't yours in the back of your brain.
Pocket, come on. Get down from there.
Just fly over on her shoulder.
Give him a little scratch. Hey.
Did any of them actually say that the total 5 were dead? Just did they say 5 were dead?
Yes.
Then I will mimic that.
Yeah.
Hey, I know. You
yeah,
didn't intend for it, though.
It's very strange that you just see this raven.
Unfortunately, that happens. I mean, you didn't try for this to happen. It's not your fault, I don't think.
I didn't try for this to happen. I will change back. Fully nude. Not that much to see. Yep.
But you're on
haven't been doing this for long.
Splat.
Anyone else outside to see this gloriousness happen?
The rest of you who are not Axel, roll a perception check.
Do I have to?
You see it. He's on your shoulder and splats out. Yeah. So Verity, so Saya and Verity. Both of you kind of glimpse up on one of the rooftops. You see Nanaha, you see the bright red of her hair. And you see this bird on her shoulder. Then suddenly sprawled out is a naked, 7-foot-tall, hairless cat that just kind of like flops on top of her because he was sitting on her shoulder.
Sound from Verity's facepalm could probably be heard in Strahd's castle.
Sorry, and move as fast as they can to the belfry to like get some space to hide and get cover.
gives him her cloak.
Like, it woefully is underfitting. Like, this is kind of a...
He can at least wear it as a skirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got it worn, but it, like... It's like one of those really short dresses that only go to, like, up, like, right above the knee.
So you're just shirt cocking it? Yeah, basically.
At least it's a little better than Donald Duck.
I believe the correct term is Porky Piggin' it.
Sai is just gonna heave a sigh and look for the kid who was digging a grave. Is he still out there? Or did he go in with the congregation?
Oh, Axel?
No, the kid. You said there was a sullen teenager out
Yeah,
there
he
digging
is
a grave.
He is standing out by the sites, and he's just digging the grave, and he seems kind of... I don't know. There's like a mix of... maybe like guilt, but it could just be teenage angst.
Alright, well, Sai is going to trust in Nanaha to handle Pocket, because she is not the right person to be having that conversation very clearly, and is probably going to approach the kid. But Nanaha and Pocket can finish their stuff first.
Okay. Nanaha and Pocket, do your things.
I think this actually is my fault.
Okay, I at least know that it wasn't your intention. You are a good person. Sometimes the best laid plans just kind of fall over on you. Believe me, I've had so many things go weird. All you can do is try to make things better.
But when he talks, it's just so easy to listen. And now I'm afraid that anywhere I go, he can just make me do things.
Pocket, just so you are aware, there had to have been a reason why. Like, maybe those people were mean. Like, maybe they were secretly bad people. There was no way he would trick you into doing something like that. Like, there's just... That's not him. He's too nice of a guy for that kind of thing to happen. There had to have been a reason.
I'm gonna use most of what you said and say, I mean, even though I may not have fully intended to do it, I think I kind of did. It was the right thing to do, just like when we killed the Donovich's son.
Okay, so Elder Vampire Man, you like him right now, right?
Yeah, he's pretty nice.
Okay, you know, like how sometimes you meet someone and they seem really nice and like you want to help them, and then later you find out they run up with all your money. You've ever had that happen to you?
I've had that happen to other people.
Yeah, just because he's your friend now might not mean he's your friend later. Sometimes people are just so pretty that you want to help them.
Why wouldn't he be my friend later, though?
Yeah, she's her words aren't making any sense. Like, why would she think that? Strahd is the nicest guy ever, and of course he'll always be your friend.
Axel doesn't leave me. Why would Strahd leave me?
I'm just saying, sometimes people, they're pretty, they're sweet to you, they do really nice things for you, and then when you're no longer useful to them, they kind of
kill people's children.
Over.
She's just
and then
jealous.
make their father hang themselves in a belfry.
I'm just saying, have a sleep on it. I know that you didn't mean anything bad.
She's just jealous. She's just jealous. There was a good reason for all of this.
Whatever. 5 people died, and I'll transform back into a werewolf and fly back towards the inn.
I hope
Dropping
no
her
one
cloak wherever
finds
it
with
was.
clothes.
Yep, so your cloak just kind of collapses into a pile.
Grabs the cloak. All I can do. At least I saw where he was
Okay.
going.
Is there anything anyone else would like to do in this group?
Seeing Saya go up and talking to the gravedigger, I just want to break away from the congregation for a second. One moment, I need to speak to a friend of mine. Go over to her and say, "Hey, I think I'm gonna be here for the day, saying the rites for those that passed. Let me know what comes of the meeting in the manor."
You got it.
All right. Saya, you're able to head up to this individual, and he's just kind of standing there, having just finished digging the graves.
So before she fully approaches him, she's gonna try to get like a cup from somewhere, anywhere,
Okay. You have a cup?
and she's going to pour water into it, and she's gonna walk up offering the water to the boy.
I think you let go of the button.
Did I? She's
Yeah.
gonna pour water into the cup, and she's going to walk up to the boy offering the cup of water. Looks like thirsty work.
He just kind of like gives you an eyebrow cock. He
I mean,
is
it's not poisoned, but you know.
Yeah, if you wanna look in your journal, I just passed a handout if you want a visual representation of him.
No, he's hot.
Damn, daddy.
Oh, what's all right? I mean, it's thank you, I guess. He just kind of like awkwardly takes the cup and drinks it.
Is it because I'm blue? Is that why you're a little concerned? I totally get it.
I mean, that is one of many reasons, but sure, why the fuck not?
So what happened here last night? I just woke up to loud screaming.
There were... Father Lucian was giving his sermon. There were... And then suddenly bats poured out through the belfry and chased everyone out, and there, standing outside, was the devil, and he killed Father Lucian. Not really a night you would want.
No. No, that doesn't seem like something you'd want to remember. I'm Saya.
Milivoj. It is, I guess, nice to meet you, or whatever.
So, yesterday you may have heard there was something going on in the the coffin maker's shop.
Okay, Saya, roll an insight check. You see that there's there's just a little twitch of nervousness on his face when you mention the coffin maker. Like, nothing super overt, but just, like, you see him tense up.
Do you happen to know what happened there?
I don't know. I don't get out much. I heard the guards were there, and that was about it.
Alright. She's gonna take her water skin, fill up the cup. Thank you very much, Milivoj.
Alright, bye.
Saya remembers the coffin maker saying that the grave digger is the one who sold him the bones.
Yeah, he's just looked a little nervous, and then is just kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever, bye, weirdo.
Look, the rest of the town can think she's strange as fuck. She's used to it. She's blue.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna wave at Axel, and then she's going to head back to the inn.
All right. Axel, is there anything in particular you would like to do while you are doing the rites?
No, I was just going to give a probably a little longer rambling than it needs to be sermon, because he doesn't do this a lot. But just try to, incorporate, like, talk of the, the good things that the people were told to him. Try to be, Axel isn't entirely certain, like, he's not 100% sure that, like, his faith is the same as theirs, but the similarity, like, he's just kind of preaching, like, his version of it. So this might be a little bit like, like a Protestant giving a sermon to, like, not Catholics, but like non-denominational or something. So where, like, the beliefs might not match up exactly, but I'm trying to hit, like, the sun worship and their light and all that stuff. And then afterwards, just stick around, do the priest's thing. Like, afterwards, stick around, talk to anyone who needs to talk, or just, like, help the people through this.
Sure. All right. Roll me either persuasion. No, not persuasion. Roll me either performance or religion at advantage.
Oh, they're actually the same, so let's roll religion.
All right. You give your sermon, and most of the people here seem to be rather engrossed. Quickly into the sermon, you start to realize that there aren't that many differences in your faith system. It's more, it's less Protestant talking to non-denominational. It's more a Roman talking about Jupiter to Grecians. So you kind of, like, realize that they're eerily similar. And once you kind of realize that one is kind of the like more archaic form of the other, you get into kind of this swing of it, and the majority of the people are just very interested. And, like, they're all nodding along with you, and you definitely have won over the crowd, and they are, very emotional and accepting of you.
Excellent.
Roz, back at the inn, you're going down to get breakfast.
Yep.
And Erwin comes on over and hands you a steak. He's like, "On the house. Do not worry." Where's the rest of your friends?
Believe they went off to chase after one who fled.
Alright, I see. Just wanted to let you know that I have more information about what happened last night. It was isolated to the church for some reason. And there was really no damage other than the bats attacking villagers fleeing from the church.
Wouldn't the church have had some sort of protections or wards? What's this? Why wouldn't all of these attacks have happened a week ago, a month ago, a year ago?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me either. Anytime there has been any sort of trouble in town, the church has always been left alone. There must have been something there. But whatever it was not there last night. I don't know. My informants seem to think it was very well choreographed for what it was.
Well, I'm sure this will be a lovely festival today as well.
He just kind of, like, rolls his eyes and nods, like, yes, I'm sure it will be. Listen, if you or your friends need anything while you're here, just let me know, alright? I will be more than happy to try and find out any information you might need.
Do you know of any other groups like us running around? I'm not sure I'll be welcome here much longer.
There were some outsiders who were here about a week ago, but I haven't seen them since they went off to investigate out west of here. Something
What's
about
west of here?
there's this old mansion where a dragon died there many centuries ago. I don't know if they're planning on looking for some sort of dragon's hoard or whatever stories tell that dragons do. We kept an eye on them the best that we could, but he just kind of shrugs.
Is that where one might find a dead dragon's lair?
It might be.
I was told once that I might find a fallen paladin there.
That is interesting. I have not seen anything leave or enter that mansion in quite a long time. But if someone has told you that there is something there, then there might be something there. If you're here in a few days or in a day or so, I might take a look at seeing if some of my informants can find out anything more about that place.
Well, sounds like our day is pretty much booked with dinner requests and picking up toys. So, if you have more information, I'd be perfectly happy to have it.
He just kind of laughs. It's like, the life of a celebrity. Don't.
Snorts.
He just kind of like leans in a little closer. Yes, your friend is a bitch, by the way. You did not deserve that. If you need me to do anything, let me know.
Oh no, if something's going to happen to her, she's going to know it's me.
Good. Alright. And he just kind of like straightens his back up. Alright, well, I've got to get back to all this. And he kind of heads back to the tavern. You hear a lot of people talking, Roz, and a lot of them seem to be talking about what happened last night. Something of note, like you see, there's a lot of people today that seem to be scoffing at the festival, like openly in this tavern. Like one such thing you hear and variations of is, "Huh, all is well. Yeah, all was certainly well last night at the church." Like you can see that there's this growing sense of discontent.
People after his own heart.
At about this time, everyone else kind of makes their way back. Pocket, you try to fly into, but all the windows are closed.
I'll sit on the roof till people come back.
Well, Verity went back to get his clothes because she didn't really want General Devilry to be added again to his list of... So she's in the room.
Alright, so you see this raven, like, flying at the windows in the rooms you guys are staying and, like, tapping at the glass.
Perfectly, yeah. That would be it.
She cracks open the one, that he flew out of, where his clothes are piled on the floor. Just enough for him to come in.
It's Verity. He's going to sit on the windowsill and just stare.
She takes a big step back.
Okay. Get in the room and transform back and start putting his clothes on.
Pocket. On your
Yes.
bed, you happen to see that there is a small slip of paper.
Is that from you?
No.
Open it. Take it and open it.
It just says you were asked to be discreet. And then there's the letter M.
Kind of hard when crumple it up and stuff it in his bag.
The ink looked rather relatively fresh, by the way.
Looks like more people want to talk to me. Later. Gonna crawl back in bed and throw the blanket over my head.
Well, guess we'll go back to sitting on the bed. Not on him this time, just on the bed. I'm assuming there's space, although he's, like, enormous.
Yeah, there's space. He's enormous, but he's lanky.
I am purposely not talking to her, and will put the pillow over my face to help make that point clear.
She's talking to you. Purely academic, of course. So, how did you do that?
Do what?
You turned into a what appeared to be some form of raven. I was not aware that you had such abilities. And the notebook comes out.
I wasn't aware that my presence could get people killed this easily.
Verity pats what is hopefully his foot. I don't know, because I'm assuming she sat at the foot of the bed.
Probably.
Just the nearest lump, I guess, would be,
That's my tail.
People come, people go. How you let it affect you is what matters. I will say, however, that if you spend any more time deliberating over your past mistakes, you are prone to make new ones.
Silence.
Well, she's not letting him out of her sight, so I guess we can see what the rest of the party's doing, because this is not going to be a great conversation. Or much of anyone at all.
Alright, so the rest of you and Roz make your way back upstairs. You see Pocket, just this mound of blankets and pillow, and you see Verity just sitting there at the edge of the bed with a notebook out. They're both sitting in silence. She's writing.
Well, this seems as good a place as any to talk so that everybody can hear. And Sai's gonna go and sit on the floor in there since there's only 2 beds in that room.
Yet. It's okay, promise. Starts to poke him. If he doesn't respond, she's going to try to tickle his feet.
Heap. Pocket, are you ticklish?
Fuck, very.
Nanaha is tickling your feet.
Tickle, tickle, tickle.
Kicking.
Dodging, I'm a monk. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Come on, get out from under that blanket.
Later.
I could get you some milk.
It goes off a little. How fresh?
As fresh as I can get it. I don't see any cows, but I hear they get deliveries.
I think someone else wants to talk to me anyway. They'll get up out of bed and join with the group, I suppose.
Nanaha gets this I can't believe that actually worked look.
I'm gonna go run down the stairs and try to order some milk and run back up as quickly as possible.
Okay, you do that. You see a very, very confused Danica Martikov.
Hey, can I get a glass of milk? Just a little one, if you have any.
Sure. Yes. She kind of like pulls out a small container that has a bunch of ice in it and like pulls the bottle out and pours a small glass.
How much do I owe you?
That would be 1 gold.
Done.
Yeah. This must be some good milk.
It's a rarity.
Price of being in an enclosure.
So she takes the gold, puts the bottle, stoppers the bottle, puts it back in the ice chest, turns around. You've just neumed back upstairs.
I'll meet her on the stairs. I'm essentially looking for Erwin.
It's nice and chilled.
Thank you. Take the bottle and walk past her, still looking for Erwin.
You see him. He's kind of, he's back behind the bar, cleaning out some glasses right now.
Walk over to him and kind of give him the look and be like, I have a question. I need to talk to you.
All right. And he's like, come back into the kitchen. Danica just kind of looks like, make him wear a hairnet. He's all hair. I'll make him stand away from the cauldron. All right, fine. But if any of our guests complain about cat fur in their soup, it is on your head, Erwin. They won't complain. They won't know the difference. And he just kind of pulls Pocket into the back room.
The quality of food has come into question.
All right, you said you wanted to talk.
So, I think I got your note. And I'll pull out the crumpled piece of paper.
He just kind of nods.
I was trying to help my friends. We got into a bad fight yesterday, and I figured I could try to get some stuff to help us out, and then, well, he came.
I wasn't
kind of awkwardly avoiding the name.
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about your friends yelling about you turning into a raven in front of them. We got lucky because that happened to be when Rictavio was downstairs telling one of his many stories, so they didn't hear you.
Well, sorry, but
it's fine.
I tell Axel either way. I trust him with this information, but
I'm not worried about you doing this in front of your friends. It was the fact that they were yelling about it rather loudly upstairs.
Hey, some of us don't yell.
Oh,
she kind of yelled.
Verity didn't, but there was kind of yells. There are that are particularly interested in seeing the keepers taken down. And I don't want them to run the risk of finding this place. That is all.
Then I only have one question.
My favorite color is blue.
Really? I pegged you for a red guy. But we fought some really creepy looking bitey fellows. Do you know of anything that could help us deal with those?
The best course of action is to not be there, but I do not know. There are many servants that are found scattered throughout the valley. Many of them are people such as yourselves, former adventurers who were less than qualified to deal with the Devil Strahd.
Oh, thank you for your time, and I won't make that mistake again. And we're gonna give him the awkward hug.
Pat. Also, don't beat yourself up about last night. Nothing there was your fault.
No comment. And we'll unstop her the milk, start chugging, and head out.
Oh, speaking of awkward, did Nanha come back upstairs to the room?
Yeah, after he took the milk bottle from me.
Prepare for awkward poking and prying from the team mom doctor, because she was really close to death yesterday. Just making sure she's okay.
Hey. Yeah, I thought I was better at dodging. Maybe I tripped. Sorry.
Yeah, anyone who had their hit points reduced from bites are back up to full.
Hooray!
Axel, a couple hours later, everyone starts to kind of dismiss from the area since the festival is about to be starting soon and attendance is mandatory.
Is there like a deacon or something like that in the church, like an aide to the priest?
There are some aides to the priest. Yes, they're a little younger. There's a kind of a like young teenage girl and a young teenage boy that are just kind of like that were kind of helping you through this.
To them, I asked, which of you is the best speaker? I suppose somebody's going to need to take over the priest's spot on a permanent basis.
They kind of look at each other. That would be Mathilda. And she just kind of looks. I guess so.
Matilda, was it?
Mathilda.
Mathilda. All right, Mathilda. And so Axel goes into his pack and hands her the prayer book that he was reading from when he gave the sermon. I have a feeling you'll be able to put this to better use than I will on the road. Whenever I'm in town, please feel free to find me, though. I'd be glad to continue to speak. Good luck. Keep safe.
She's just kind of like, all right, thank you. Good luck.
I like how Axel's like local hero now.
All right, and then with that, Axel is gonna start heading back toward the inn.
Okay. So shortly after you head off the book, like everyone starts kind of heading towards town square at this point.
Probably including the rest of us since we were specifically invited.
It's fine. All will be well.
Nana had heard there was a festival, so she tied her hair up so that the blonde bits kind of look like feathers coming off the back of her head, trying to emulate the sun look. You're like, hey, why not?
Is there anything you guys would like to do before heading to the festival?
We should get our toys.
This is true. We should pick up our orders.
All right. You head your way downtown, kind of see just the droves of people. You hear kind of some grumblings. Most people are just kind of like, shh, no, keep it down, keep it down. Like, there's just a mix of different emotions right now. and you make your way to the big, well, not the big, but the small little shop with the wooden sign of the rocking horse. And you kind of walk in, you hear the little bell ringing, and you see the large sight of Blinsky as he's just kind of like gathering his things, the pet monkey sitting on his shoulder. He turns around to the ring of the bell. Welcome, friends! Are you here to pick up your order?
Yes, I am, Blinsky, my boy.
Yes, indeed.
Alright, so remind me again what you guys picked up.
I wanted a mask for Pocket to make him look like a man.
Saya got a marionette of Mogget. 'Cause
Okay.
Lennon reminded me of the correct term for it later.
Yeah. So it is the marionette that you got for the pseudo dragon. It's very stylized, like almost kind of a Don't Starve Tim Burton-esque aesthetic behind it.
Pretty.
Yes.
So like a lot of dark shadows and like sharp angles.
Oh, I love it, Blinsky.
Well, Blinsky is very happy to be finding it out. Blinsky is a student of great inventor Fritz von Wirg, and so it is great honor to be working under his name.
And how's...
The mask is very unsettling. It's a very like porcelain doll sort of face to it.
Does it at least look like a man?
It does. It looks like a man with wearing a lot of makeup. And he's like, he kind of goes like, this is thing that Blinsky is most proud of. And he goes and he like, there's this little brass key on the back of the mask and he twists it. And after he twists it, there's like eyelids that kind of close on the mask and open back up.
Very neat. Thank you so much, Blinsky.
Remembering to be a twisting key if you're wanting eyes to be blinking.
That is a neat trick. Thank you so much.
And he just kind of beams and the monkey just kind of like chitters. Will we be seeing you at festival?
We've been invited as people of prominence, so I guess so. So weird.
Blinsky is very excited. He will be cheering for new friends when they give speeches.
Speeches? We're supposed to be giving speeches?
That is what key guest of honor is to be doing.
Oh, he should have said something. All right, speeches it is.
Be seeing you soon, friend.
Thank you. I'll look for you in the crowd. And kind of like waves him off. Bye, bye.
Gonna like double hand excited wave and leave.
He kind of like waves back. The bells on his moth-eaten jester's cap jingle and jangle.
Is Pocket
What a
with us?
wholesome oaf.
So Namaha turns and hands it to Pocket. This is for you. Try to keep it in the shadow.
It is very much a like dandy boy-esque, like, you know, powdery porcelain mask.
Yeah, this is kind of how you people look.
Right on.
Excuse me?
Does it have like a strap or anything to actually affix it to my face?
It does, yes.
Must be a mask.
There's a leather strap, kind of like a belt strap with like a loop and a closure.
Help me make sure it's on right, and then I'll try to put it on.
Did we get Pocket a gimp mask?
Maybe.
How do I look?
very uncanny valley. But on a quick skim, as long as your eyes don't focus too much on it, it's okay.
It still has to be more convincing than Kitty Face. We can say he had a burn or something.
All right. Are we good to go?
Are we?
I suppose so.
All right. Well, the rest of you make your way down to the main town hall or town square. There's a lot of people gathering. There's a lot of food vendors and like little bunch of stalls. People are trying to sell wares like jewelry and like children's clothes and like deep fried cheese.
Yum.
Goat's milk doesn't fry very well, but they're doing the best they can to make fritters out of it.
Is deep fried cheese a thing? Like a
Yeah.
real thing?
Yes.
Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, ew.
But Pounce, you got to
Cheese
remember
curds.
that at least 3 of us in this group right now, 4 of us in this group right now, live in Wisconsin, where that is a delicacy.
It is so good.
But it's
Try
like
bef-
fat, fried and fat.
I don't get it either, Pounce, but people love it here.
My man!
Have you tried it? First try it before you diss it.
I mean,
We
it's
have
basic-
tried it, Lumi. And
basically like
I'm not a big
it's
fan of cheese curds.
yeah, it's basically like a mozzarella stick, but with like cheese curds instead. But these are more like fritters.
Poutine with fresh curds.
Yeah, these are more like cheese fritters. So kind of like a dough made with goat's cheese.
Okay.
So I imagine Axel walks into the square a little after everyone, but just kind of goes to the 7-foot guy in a hood.
Yeah. You see a 7-foot tall guy in a hood with a like very porcelain white, foppish dandy boy face with like exaggerated eyelashes.
Oh my god.
But Pocket?
I am sorry, friend. You must have me confused for someone else.
Oh my god.
Days marked down inspiration.
1 second.
Yeah, I'd give you advantage on that since you know Pocket well enough.
Okay. It was that the mask that Nanaha was buying?
You saw right through it.
Oh no, the disguise. I kind of like pull him down because I like, or kind of tiptoe up to whisper in his ear, kind of. It's like, oh no, the mask is great. There's just not too many people in the city that are 7 feet tall.
Oh shoot, you're right. Kind of bend his knees a little.
As you're talking to him, you see the like exaggerated eyelashes and the lids kind of like mechanically close and open.
Please tell me they make a very audible clockwork sound while they do
They
it.
do.
Yes!
Oh man, keep your hood up, Pocket.
Don't twist the key often, I guess.
I assume everyone else is around as well. Like,
Yeah.
the same general way. Okay.
Saya's gonna pull on Axel's armor because I imagine he's quite a bit taller than she is. We're supposed to give speeches, apparently.
Oh, well, I guess I can give another sermon.
Good luck.
At this point, like everybody is starting to gather, and you see out in the crowd, you see the 7+ foot height of Izek Strasny as he's marching behind the burgomaster with a set of guards following. In between there is One moment. Okay, sorry. One of my notes closed down, so I have to open it back up.
Bun bun.
Womp womp. Following behind the burgomaster, you see a rather fashionable woman. She's kind of, slightly malnourished, but she holds herself well. She's very well put together. And you see that she is a little like kind of keeping herself quiet. Like you see streaks of like very faint streaks of makeup down her face, like mascara running kind of situation. Just kind of have the puffy redness of crying. And behind and next to her, there is younger man. He is got really big, like, sideburny mutton chops. And he's just kind of, like, avoiding eye contact with everyone.
That reminds me, I have a quick metagame question, because I can't remember who this information was given to. Was Nanaha alone when we were told about the noblewoman that was trying to overthrow the burgomaster, or was that to the whole party? Because I can't remember.
I think Nanaha was alone.
Okay. That is important.
The woman, the woman and the young man are following slightly behind the burgomaster.
Yeah, that just reminded me that I needed to ask that question so that Saya doesn't have information she shouldn't have.
Sure.
Yeah, meh.
And at this point, you see the burgomaster kind of taking the stage. And he looks at everybody, kind of waves. There's a mix of, like, some soft cheering, like, kind of that, like, okay, if we don't cheer, we're going to be in trouble kind of pause. And you kind of see, like, the slicked over, thinning, greasy white hair of the burgomaster, Baron Vargas, as he heads up on top of the banner. Everyone, I know last night was very troubling, but that means today we must put forth the importance of the festival even more. If we are to remain happy and well, we will continue to be safe. As you saw from the stocks last week, there were individuals who were here to undermine the happiness of the village. And so, that was the punishment for not believing in the goodwill of each other. And, like, people, they were kind of just like, you hear a few, like, awkward, like, okay, yay. Everyone else is just kind of, like, silent.
Do I see the man that is well acquainted with his right hand?
He is standing off to the side of the stage next to Baron Vargas.
Got. Also got Nevia laughing.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like, we have today very special guests, friends of the village, who have come from beyond these lands to help us. And who better to be here to help everyone stay happy than those who are not as familiar with the day-to-day to remind us of the important things. The Festival of the Blazing Sun is all about celebrating the things that drive us and keep us going. And so, friends, I introduce to you, and he kind of motions to the party. Come.
Look to Axel really quick. Mask on or mask off? We were invited when I didn't have this thing.
Pocket was hiding in the shadows, so like...
Okay, continue hiding, please.
I'll just stay where I am.
Roll a stealth check, Pocket.
Oh dear.
Fuck yeah! So Pocket kind of gets off to the corner, and you just hear this.
When that
And everyone-
not winding it again.
Everyone's just kind of like awkwardly looking at the man whose face is ticking.
God.
So trying to cover a little. So Axel is going to like put his hands in the air, like to identify himself and wave, and like kind of just sort of gives a bellow, like thank you for the introduction. Well, hello everyone.
Yeah, Sai is going to just drop into a deep curtsy.
When Axel takes the stage, there's a bit of a genuine cheer from the crowd. And like there's a dirty glance that the Burgomaster shoots Axel when Axel gets this just like triumphant cheer from people.
Does Axel sees the dirty look, or is that just the crowd?
You see it. It's kind of that like how dare you upstage me look.
Axel just kind of smiles and like kind of puts his hand up in a little bit of a wave to the Burgomaster.
And he kind of like smiles back in that like gritted teeth politician kind of way.
Are the rest of us able to observe this interaction?
Yes.
Anna has an awkward face on her.
Rose just lurks in the back of the party, not saying anything.
If our new friends would like to have a few words with the crowd to get the festival started, that would be appreciated.
So Axel kind of looks at the group and just kind of like, hey, can I? I think I've got the crowd.
Go for it.
So Axel turns around, thanks the Burgomaster again for the kind introduction, and breaks into a sermon about the enduring brightness of the sun and hope and just general uplifting sun imagery.
All right. I will say this will be a performance check, but at advantage.
Okay.
Pocket's gonna pseudo gag, having probably heard a practice or two of something like this.
So, you can tell that Axel is he's more comfortable in kind of a stricter religious setting, and so he's kind of going up there giving like a pep talk. Some of the crowd's kind of nodding, but you see the sweat dripping down his face, and kind of there's moments of like awkward pausing, and he manages to soldier through it, and like the crowd doesn't lose the crowd, but this was definitely like he would have gotten a C, if this was speech class. Passing, but room for improvement. And you see this kind of like wry smile on the Burgomaster's lips as Axel kind of fumbles a little bit out there.
Yeah, so Axel just kind of wraps it up as he can, and remember. Oh yes, so, so wraps up the speech, kind of like winds it down. Everyone have a great festival. Enjoy. food carts are all around. Obviously, help yourselves, or whatever, however it works here.
Yeah.
And all will be well.
And yeah, a few people in the crowd and the burgomaster yell, "All will be well." Those of you that are in the crowd, you see the woman kind of sitting off to the side, off behind the stage. The well-dressed one, she's rubbing her eyes a little bit, and she seems to not be really paying attention. She's just kind of sitting there, like, zoning out, almost, as it were. And the young man with the mutton chops is just kind of, like, giving this indignant look to the burgomaster.
I poke Saya. That's weird.
Usually is, but I stick out a little. So if we want to sneak up and talk to them, you're probably gonna be on your own.
My hair looks like a sunburst. I don't think I'm going to blend.
Well, I mean, all right. One of us is blue, one of us is red. You've got the sun in your hair. One is a giant ticking man cat. Axel is now a celebrity. I guess we're stuck with Roz? Holy fuck.
And Roz is Roz is gothic Kratos.
Also shirtless.
And gray.
I mean, if we don't care about me sticking out, then, I mean, I've made myself pretty obvious to a bunch of people, and I talked nice to the burgomaster.
Mm-hmm.
I can always try, if we don't care that I stick out.
You made a very good emotional support stage sharer.
If nothing else, we're probably considered to be on the burgomaster's, like, good list. So maybe we're acting as politicians trying to talk to her. Just, once everybody's mingling, maybe.
At about this time, like, other people take the stage. There's a few musicians that are just kind of, like, playing. I don't want to say, like, it doesn't sound somber, but it's certainly not very upbeat. Just sort of like, some string instrument music that kind of just becomes background noise. Everyone is kind of, there's some more speeches. The burgomaster basically talks his mouth off for another hour. Few people are playing a few games. They don't really seem to have their hearts in it, though. So you see kind of like these children playing this, like, it's kind of like cornhole. Like they have this, like, beanbag that they're trying to throw in a hole, and, like, there's a sun emblem on it. And while this is going, you all kind of notice that the sky, like, it's gray. It's always gray. But there's this dark hue to it, and you see, like, out of the corner of your eye, you see some flashes of light as, like, lightning arcs around the clouds. And at this point, there is a bit of a parade that's starting. Like, you see just this group of unhappy children dressed as flowers trudging through the muddy streets. And, like, they're throwing flower petals at the ground. The burgomaster has headed off stage, and he is, on his horse. So, like, after the speeches and people were doing their games and stuff, he left off and came back with his horse. You see the woman kind of, like, just sitting off in the corner. She's, like, putting on this, like, fake smile. And the burgomaster tosses her this bouquet of, like, wilting flowers. You see, like, in the middle of this procession is this large wicker ball. It's being held by several men. It's like probably a good, like, 15 feet diameter sphere. And they all, like, they have everything all set up, and the burgomaster goes on stage, and the men put this on this, like, scaffolding and begin dousing it in oil. you know, the burgomaster takes a torch and kind of gives a, you know, just a last minute, like, you know, speech about the importance of following your burning desires and your passions, and all will be, you know, and then he gets ready to yell one more, all will be well. And he marches towards the wicker ball, and he, you know, thrusts the torch up. And at about that time, the clouds just rumble, and this torrential downpour just washes down from the skies. You know, you guys are all completely soaked. This is one of those moments where just the rain starts and just buckets. Just raining. Everyone is instantly soaked in seconds. And the torch goes out, like, right as he has tried to light it on fire. And, like, you see the burgomaster there, his greasy, wet hair in his face, just slumped down to the shoulders. And out in the middle of the crowd, you just hear this like, just this uproarious laughter. And there's just this look of, like, pure, unadulterated hatred. The burgomaster's face just turns this bright, fiery red. And he kind of, like, looks into the crowd. Who did that? Who was that? And, like, you kind of see the crowd starting to part a little bit. And, like, you see a bunch of guards that were standing around this guy. And, like, you see this guy, he's actually wearing, like, a militia guard uniform. Everyone just kind of, like, backing away, have this, like, look of shock. Like, Frank, you said the inside thing outside. Like, you don't say that. You keep that in your head. You don't say that. So everyone just has this look of, like, just fear and, like, what did you do? The burgomaster's just, like, screaming to arrest him. He's like, arrest him! And you see, like, Ismark and some of the other guards, or not Ismark, Izek and some of the guards heading towards, and they, like, just with his big, large hand, before anyone can really react, Izek has the claws of his, like, devilish hand gripped around his shoulder.
Is Axel still near the burgomaster?
You were kind of off to the stage. Like, once things started going into the, like, okay, kids are playing games stage, you were free to mingle.
So as this is, like, going on, I'm just kind of, like, not sprint, but, like, quickly walk up to him and get his attention, and just kind of, like, you know, I understand that was certainly not a nice thing to do, but surely you can see the irony here.
Okay, roll a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Hey, Sai, I got that fog cloud ready.
He is looking furious. Stand aside now. And in the background, you see Izek dragging this man to a set of horses that were used for the processional.
But I thought that this festival was supposed to bring happiness. That man was happy.
He just shoots this glare shoots his glare at Nanaha. You guys see the guards tying this man's wrists to the burgomaster's horse.
Anaha is looking around anxious. What are they gonna do to this guy?
Oh, they're likely gonna kill him.
We're laughing.
And he kind of, like, stands up on the stage. This is what I was talking about. This sort of spite is what caused last night. This man is in league with the devil Strahd. And we are only going to be able to survive if he is made an example of. And, like, everybody is very timid and kind of, like, backing away at this point.
Sir, with all due respect, I think I can certainly understand the man should be punished for disrespecting the faith. I can certainly appreciate, but death seems harsh.
How can he make amends if he's dead?
I brought you here as guests. You are not familiar with how this village works. Any more outbursts from you or your friends, and you will be joining this biteful devil in his punishment.
Nanoha looks very alarmed.
Sir, this is wrong. You can't do this.
Oh.
He just looks. Arrest them. And unless anyone stops him, he starts walking towards his horse. You guys Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Knowing how many people, or rather, knowing that there are people that can become ravens, are there any ravens watching us?
Yes.
More than, say, the average, these are just regular animals kind of amount of ravens?
I mean, I would say there are probably about 12 or so ravens perched on various buildings.
Just taking note, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Saya is going to throw herself in at his feet, like down on her knees at his feet. Sir, please. My friends are very foolish. We ask that you give us some time to consider. Perhaps we could speak with someone who can guide us in how the village works.
Roll either persuasion or deception at disadvantage. Depending on the intent of your talking.
While she's talking, Roz will kind of moving away, just lurking through the crowd, but try to get between where the burgomaster is and where his horse is.
Okay.
Alright, she's going.
Arrest them all. And at this point, you see the guards starting to swarm, like, circle around the group. Many of them kind of look, like, scared to death as they're doing this. And you see just this burning look of hatred from the burgomaster's face at all of you. And Isaac starts approaching the group from behind the burgomaster.
Am I still aside, like, separate from them?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I recognize any of the guards that are about to arrest us from the sermon at the church?
Roll me, we'll say either perception or insight, your call.
That shouldn't have been disadvantaged, but it was still terrible.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't recognize any of them. Roz, you said you were going to be interposing between the burgomaster and his horse?
Yes. Seeing as negotiations have failed dramatically, Roz approaches the burgomaster and draws his blade. Now you're going to be letting everybody go, or you're dying right here.
Okay.
I kill vampires. I'm going to kill you.
Saya's gonna stand up. Like, as soon as he turned away from her, Roz probably saw this. Her face just went, alright, well, I guess we're murdering him.
Alright, roll an intimidation check, Roz.
I may have just, as an aside, missed something. What does this man look like who they're taking away?
Just a normal dude.
Just a normal man, kind of like brown scruffy hair, wearing kind of like a very, standard guard / militia uniform, very like leather armor.
All right, Pocket's just watching. He'll approach only because like people are approaching Axel, but that's it.
All right. You see him backing away slightly. And as the group of guards circle the party, and you see the large imposing figure of Isaac Strahd looming overhead, Roz, I need you to make make a dexterity save. All right. You are blasted in the face with just this burst of hot, fiery pain, and you are going to take.
So he gets to react before I get to do anything, because I was at the Burgomaster's throat.
Yeah. So the Burgomaster is not the one doing anything.
I understand, but if Isaac was going to raise his hand and blast me with something, the sword was going through the Burgomaster.
Roll initiative.
Everyone or just Raz?
Just Raz. Okay, Raz, you get to act first.
Hear you, hon.
Oh, tell your man to put his hand down. If you blast me, I'm slitting your throat.
And all right, Isaac just stands there, glaring at Roz. The group is still surrounded. What are you guys going to do at this point?
Saya's gonna raise her voice. I'd back up if you guys want your Burgomaster alive.
Axel. Okay.
Over. Lennon. Axel first.
Oh, sorry. I was say Axel throws his cloak back, showing his shield and spear, and is I can listen to the blue one back away.
Nanaha is quietly in back untying the man that's tied to the horse.
And all you common folk around here, if you don't want to be caught in the crossfire, I'd recommend walking away now.
Oh, they're running away at this point. Like, it is hysteria.
Run as soon as you're free. Hide in the crowd. You don't deserve to die for laughing.
All right.
Untie.
Let them go, Isaac. But sir, let go. And he just kind of glares. You are not welcome in my village. If I see your faces again, you will wish we never met. Now leave.
Oh, I already do.
Saya just laughs. If you see our faces again, it'll probably be the last thing you see.
Leave now.
Axel kind of barks to the group. Go round up the siblings. I'll cover the back.
No, you are leaving now.
With all due respect, we are gathering our things from the inn. We are gathering our horse from the stockyards, and we are leaving in an hour.
You will leave now, and we will have one of our guards deliver your items at the gate.
You do realize that Strahd walks these streets, right? He's been here practically every day.
He is just furiously... Like, you can tell this is humiliating for him. And he is just biting his tongue. Leave now.
Where was the manor that we were invited to dinner at?
It was in the northern part of town. So the manor is about here.
Okay. I think the lake sounds like a great direction to head in, guys. Hopefully Nanaha remembers that's where we talk to the guy for dinner plans.
Absolutely. Sounds perfect to me.
I was thinking more to the west, but I suppose the lake would be fine.
The lake sounds best.
All right, do you guys leave at this point?
Is Roz still like entangled with the burgomaster?
I imagine so.
Oh yeah, he's gonna do the hostage walk back, sword ready until the group is pretty much clear of everything before letting him go, because he isn't going to kill him unless they do anything stupid.
Yeah. So Axel is waiting just to make sure that Roz gets like extra, from his spot. He's not going to let the guy go and then have 10 guards on him. And once Roz is free, Axel is going to back away from everyone.
Yeah, no, you're able to back away, and there's a lot of like tension in the air, but they let you leave.
Please deliver our possessions, including our horse, to the north entrance.
There's just this look of like pure, utter, unadulterated hatred from Baron Vargas's face at you all.
Nanaha will for this.
As you guys kind of make your way out, there is going to be a contingent of guards making sure that you are leaving.
As we're on the way out, I cast a quick glance over to where Pocket was hiding, and hopefully am able to convey a look of like, you know what you need to do here, and just keep going.
Pocket, how close were you hanging out with the group?
I was only in I was in running distance, so about 40 feet. As everyone dispersed, only because someone was engaging his friend. If Axel is giving that look prior to everybody walking out, then he's going to try to disappear off.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay, roll me another stealth check then. You are able to slip away without being noticed.
I guess I'm gonna try to sneak around just to catch a glance at our horses. Pocket kind of has everything with him. It's all stuffed in a backpack, but check on the horse to see if they actually intend to deliver the horse.
You do see some guardsmen demanding that the Arasex hand over the horse and the cart, and like there's kind of some awkward like, no, but they're customers, and it's like the burgomaster demands it, and he immediately folds, and they take they leave the horse, and they basically, the guards take the horse by the reins and start marching it and the cart up towards the north part of the village.
I'd leave, but there's only one person in the town that we trust. So while they're leaving, if nobody's looking for me specifically, go back to the inn to let Erwin know what's happened.
All right.
Sai is trying to lead our procession past that manor. Hopefully the guy's on the thing, so she can shrug and kind of like motion to the guards.
You do see the old man on the porch, and he kind of nods. All right, do you guys head out through the gate?
So the Irina and Ismark are not with us, or were they part of the group in the?
They were not with you.
Okay.
Probably saw it though.
Yeah, they saw it.
Okay. So like Axel is gonna hesitate a bit, like he's not super comfortable leaving without them, but like obviously if we're at spear point, he's gonna leave eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Nanaha's thinking she'll probably just sneak back in later if need be.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll send a message with Mogget once we're out.
All right. So you guys are led to the northern gate of the village. And You are very unceremoniously told to just basically leave. Do you comply?
I head out the gate.
Okay.
Yeah, Axel leaves, doesn't say anything.
The moment that the last one of you walks out the gate, the door slams shut. Or the gate slams shut.
Well, that went well.
Honestly, feels better out here rather than stuck in there. Shame about our dinner plans.
They did sound nice.
Pocket, you make your way back to the inn. There are people, like, anxiously hiding in their homes. Roll me one last perception check before you make it back to the inn.
Sure.
Okay. You make your way back to the inn.
I am the natural one.
And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh, why do I get the feeling he didn't see the guards that were standing there?
This went well. All will be well.
All right, so
It's
who's up for
fine.
killing the burgomaster and all his buds?
Hey, Saya's on board.
You're not gonna.
have one more convinced.
Yeah, I was say you're gonna need to convince Axel, but it's not gonna take much.
We stopped Pocket from trying to save a child from being abused, but we need to rescue Random Man. We need to save this man. This is worth our reputation. This is worth murdering the burgomaster.
I will point out,
he'd be
Roz
dragged
did not
back.
get involved until such time as he was like, arrest everybody.
Yeah, like
Then Roz defended himself.
that's like because Saya didn't get involved until it was clear that we were getting arrested. And then once that failed, Roz was like, murder, and Saya's like, yeah, murder sounds great.
I was gonna try to convince them to only arrest Axel, but that went out the door as soon as murder happened. So
I should have used my inspiration for that perception check. Oh well.
We don't have to rescue Pocket next week.
Go ahead, Pocket. I'll let you do that if you want to.
Are you sure?
Go ahead.
Do it.
run it.
Here comes the one and the two.
Second one.
It ain't much better.
All right.
Not a nat one.
Nothing changes.
Oh.
Had
I
to
was
stay
trying
regular.
to-
Man.
I mean,
Yep.
at least if he gets into combat, he can just he can fucking turbo out.
True.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna hand the reins back to Nevia. Thank you all for sitting around. This got real.